On March 11th, 2020 is a day when sports shut down, followed by the whole world. Here's the story behind this iconic day on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide to a rapid deep dive into sports history every day. Now, to set the scene of March 11th, let's go back a little bit. As China was going through a pandemic of their own, similar to what they've had before with diseases such as SARS, which never quite reached to America. But the difference with the coronavirus and COVID was now it was reaching America. And we started to hear stories about patients testing positive for COVID right around the end of the Super Bowl at the beginning of February. It started to be in the public consciousness where everyone started to talk about it and try to understand what it was and what was going on. Even athletes were being asked in press conferences what they thought about it. And famously, Rudy Gobert joked about the coronavirus touching everything and saying, "Oh, am I going to get the coronavirus? Am I going to get it?" Which he would get it and test positive on March 11th. And these times I'm going to give you for this day are all based on Eastern times. So shortly before 11 a.m. on March 11th, top infectious disease expert Anthony Fauci, which probably none of us knew until this day who he was, and would become a common name for the remainder of the pandemic. He testifies before Congress that the coronavirus outbreak in America has involved almost 650 confirmed cases, and it would get worse. Shortly after noon, the World Health Organization officially declared Corona-19 as a global pandemic. Then just before 2 p.m. that day, San Francisco Mayor London Breed banned gatherings over 1,000 people in the city. And the Golden State Warriors made the decision to play their game the next day against the Brooklyn Nets without any fans. All of their events at the Chase Center would be canceled through March 21st. And the NBA was already considering moving games out of San Francisco and other cities where the virus was quickly spreading. And around 6 p.m. that day, Paris Saint-Germain defeats Borussia Dortmund 3-2 to advance to the Champions League quarterfinal. Over 3,000 fans received special permission to go against France's gathering ban to celebrate the victory, waving a banner that said, "Our only virus is Paris SG." Shortly after that, Europeans' premier defender, Daniele Rugani, is the first predominant European footballer to test positive for COVID-19. Shortly before 7 p.m. that day, the Wednesday practice round for the Players' Championship in golf went as normal. Golfers stopped to sign autographs and take pictures with fans, and spectators were allowed onto the course for the first round. The tournament and the next 3 PGA events were all canceled. Shortly after that, the Big Ten announced it would continue its men's basketball tournament without fans. The Big 12 commissioner said they would limit tickets to 125 per team for their tournament. Every other conference would follow suit. And by the end of the day, and by the next day, all tournaments were canceled altogether. Just before 8 p.m., the United States women's national soccer team wore their pre-match jerseys inside out before their match versus Japan in the She Believes Cup to protest the U.S. Soccer Federation not treating them as equals compared to the men. At 8 p.m. in Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City Thunders were getting ready to face off against the Utah Jazz. But just before tip-off, officials brought the 2 head coaches to have court to tell them the game was canceled, as the Jazz center, Rudy Gobert, as we mentioned before, had tested positive for COVID, and they were canceling the game. Teams were sent back to their locker room immediately, but fans were not told what was going on. Instead, recording artist Frankie J, who was set to perform at halftime, came out and gave an impromptu concert. And following his last song, the announcement came on the PA to tell the crowd that the game was canceled and please drive home safe. Then at 9:30 that day, the NBA suspended the season for the foreseeable future. Meanwhile, in Atlanta at 10:30, their game had finished, being the last NBA game played before the shutdown, and the Hawks beat the New York Knicks in double overtime, with it being Vince Carter's last game in his 22-year career, a record for the longest career in the NBA. Now, there's much more that goes into what all happened after, with bubbles and playing games with no one in attendance. Sports was forever changed by this. The way we do scheduling, the way we hold games, how we attend games, where we sit. Lots of things changed due to the pandemic, and sports was one of them. And it showed how important it was for us as non-athletes to take this seriously and kind of change our mindset on sports and culture. Thank you for listening to today's Daily Sports History. I really hope you enjoyed this, and like and review wherever you're at. I want to hear how you're enjoying it. If you don't want to like and review, you can always message us at our email, dailysportshistory@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, how you're enjoying it, and anything you think we could improve. We'd love to be a part of that. And come back tomorrow for more Daily Sports History.